Good morning. We're here today with Alice. She's our helper. Today we're going to make something really, really exciting. It's going to be gummy candy. I'd say gummy bears, but when you see my mold, you'll see I don't have bears. But let me show you what you're going to need for today's project. We're going to need juice. Obviously, you can pick whatever flavors you'd like. You can pick, you could even do this with really any liquid. You could do it with a soda or Sprite, or we love sparkling ice in our house and Buys. You could definitely do that. So you're gonna need juice. You're going to need corn syrup. This is corn syrup. It's kind of a staple in most houses, so you probably have some on hand. You're gonna need white regular granulated sugar. You are going to need Knox gelatin. I have a big container because we've used this in class a ton, but this is what it looks like when you get it at the store. It's in the Jello aisle, and it comes in a pack of 4 envelopes. You'll need about 3 envelopes for this recipe, so if you want to try a couple of different flavors, you might want to pick up a couple packs. You can also buy this on Amazon if you need to. The other item is optional. I have it, so we're going to use it. It's called citric acid, and it kind of helps make your gummy a little more candy-like than just jello-y. So we are going to use it since I have it. If you don't have it, you can find it in most grocery stores or like Targets or Walmart's in the canning section is usually where it's held. It's totally edible. It's in a lot of things actually that you probably don't even realize it's in. But yeah, it's a lot of sour stuff has it. So you can definitely pick it up on Amazon or at Walmart or probably Publix in the canning section. But I also have a massive amount. So if you want to make this recipe and you want to come by, I will happily put some little containers in our mailbox for easy pickup. Just send me an email or hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. Remember, we're Skills, the letter N Frills. So it's skillsandfrills@gmail.com and Skills and Frills on Facebook and Instagram. And if you hit me up, I will make you a to-go pack of it so you don't have to go out and buy a lot because I know it can be tricky to find. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do, also I realize I say okay guys about 9,000 times. I've rewatched these videos, so let me just say I'm sorry. I'm gonna try my best. Also, much like I tell you guys when we do food in class, I put my hair up because nobody wants hair in their gummy candy. The first thing we're gonna do is start our warm mixture. And that is a 1/2 cup of sugar, which you can see I have a 1/2 cup scoop here. I'm gonna put it in my saucepan. And then I'm gonna add the same amount, a 1/2 cup of light corn syrup. Here's a trick if you're using corn syrup. It's super sticky, which can be a pain. So if you spray it with a little bit of Pam, your measuring cup first, it comes out a lot better. So we're gonna do a 1/2 cup of corn syrup. And we're gonna go ahead and type that into our saucepan. I'm gonna get a spatula really quick. I don't have one out. We go for this super cute polka dot one. Okay. Now that my corn syrup is all in there, I'll leave my spatula in my saucepan. I'm gonna turn this on to a medium heat. So you don't want it to be super high. You want it to slowly melt. And you don't really want to over stir it because we want it to melt. We don't want the crystals from the sugar to be on the side of the pan. So we're gonna leave it there. Now we're going to what's called bloom our gelatin. So when you buy gelatin, when you buy Knox blocks, it comes in these little packets inside. You're gonna need, for this recipe, you need 2 tablespoons of Knox gelatin, which is about 3 packets. Since I have a large amount, I'm gonna go ahead and measure my 2 tablespoons out because we need 2 tablespoons of Knox gelatin. This is basically unflavored Jello. So when you buy Jello in the store, you're buying what is basically just gelatin that has flavor in it. So Jello is just flavored gelatin. So this has no flavor in it. So we're gonna pick our juice. Alice said she wants cherry limeade, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so since we need a half a cup of juice for this recipe, I'm gonna actually shake this up because we haven't used it yet. I actually have never tried this. Have you guys tried this? I'm hoping it's tasty. She wants cherry limeade, so we need a total of a half a cup. I have a 1/4 cup measure here. So I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup in there, and then I'm gonna do almost another 1/4 cup, and then I'm gonna fill it up with what we have here, which is grenadine, which is a cherry syrup. And it's really tasty, it's very sweet. So I'll fill up the rest of the way. So that will be my half cup of juice. So what happens when you use gelatin is sometimes you'll hear the word bloom. So when you use plain gelatin like this, you want it to bloom before we melt it. So that means that the liquid and the the liquid and the gelatin are gonna sit together for about 5 minutes. So we're gonna put that to the side for 5 minutes while we work on our saucepan. We are now back at our saucepan, and you can see that this is just starting to melt. There are sugar crystals in here, and it's not fully incorporated yet. It's just starting to melt. We don't want to stir it too much because we don't want crystals to grow on the outside of the pan here. That can make quite a mess. So what we're going to do is just let it continue to heat. We'll stir it occasionally, but we really just want it to heat up and come to a simmer. Once it's at a simmer, we'll just let it simmer for a second or two, and then we'll take it off the heat. Right now we're at a simmer. You see there's bubbles in my sugar mixture. So we're going to turn the heat off, and we're going to take this over to our workstation. Always remember to have something to put it on. We have a pot holder. You could have a hot pad that's just sitting there. But now that our mixture has simmered, we're bringing it over. We're going to start the rest of the process. Now that our sugar mixture has come to a simmer, we're going to add our bloomed gelatin. So I want you to see this. It looked like liquid before. Look at it now. It's just big chunks, right? It's firm. And that's what we're looking for when we talk about blooming. So we're going to add this to our pot. We didn't stir that super well. I can still see some gelatin at the bottom, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So we're going to stir that in, and then this is where we're going to add our citric acid. It's a very small amount. It's 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of citric acid gets added to this mixture. And now we're going to mix it around, and you'll see that our gelatin mixture and our gelatin and juice that bloomed is kind of dissolving into the pan. I'm sorry, into the sugar mixture. So we're gonna just stir this until it's all melted. This would also, you know, in class when we made our lip glosses, we actually use candy flavoring in those. You could definitely do this, use those in a candy like this too, if you wanted to use candy flavorings. Bless you, Charlie. Charlie's in there doing homework. Alice has, what's it called?
Ketchup week.
Ketchup week. So she doesn't have a lot of school this week. So this is pretty well dissolved, as you can see. It's kind of just a nice mixture. You can see that it's pretty thick, but still runny. So this is what we're going to do. I'm gonna grab another one of my plastic measuring cups. This is good because it has a spout, so it'll be easier to pour. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour this into here, now that it's all melted. And we're gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes. You'll notice when you let it sit that some foam will kind of come to the top after a few minutes. So we're gonna take that off. and then we'll mold up our gummy candies, okay? So we'll let that sit and we'll be back in a few minutes. The things we didn't mention when we talked about supplies was our molds, and that would be important. This is actually from the Dollar Tree. It's just an ice cube mold, and it's actually got these little silicone parts on the bottom. It helps push out the things. These are from Amazon. These are little pigs. I have some hearts too. I'll link those below if you want to get super fancy. I believe this is from IKEA. It's ice cube trays. I'm not 100% sure how many will fill up, but these are some different options. If you don't have that, you can use just a regular baking dish and then cut it out yourself with little cookie cutters, or you can just cut it into squares. So if you don't have molds, that's fine. Just get a small, like a round cake pan or something like that. That will work just as well. Now that we've come back after 10 minutes, we're going to remove the foam that is settled on the top of our gelatin mixture. We're just going to take it off and put it, discard it away. Unfortunately, our video did not capture us placing this cherry limeade mixture into molds, but we did that and we placed it in the fridge for an hour before we got started on our second flavor. So we're working on our second batch now, and we've done the same instructions that we did the first time. I'll go through it really quick with you guys so you know exactly what to do. Okay, so our sugar mixture was brought to a boil. So we can now add our citric acid. And I actually think what I'm gonna try this time is I'm gonna put our sugar into our Jell-O mixture so that we don't waste a container. So 1 teaspoon of citric acid. I'm gonna put that over my Jell-O mixture this time. And we're gonna pour our sugar into our Jell-O and see how that works. Might work better, might not. Okay. And then we're gonna stir this together. Our Jell-O has bloomed. It was chunky, so we want it to melt in the heat of the sugar syrup mix. And again, if you guys have like orange flavoring you want to add to this to make it even stronger, you can totally do that. Those candy oils that we use in class, that we use to flavor a lot of things, the brand is Loran. There's also another brand on Amazon that I've used. I'll link it down below. You can buy the Loran brand oils at Michael's and I believe at Walmart, but you can always get this stuff on Amazon as well, which we'll link. Okay, we're still just got a little bit of lump, so I'm gonna keep stirring just for a couple more minutes and see if we can get some of those lumps out. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna leave this for 10 minutes like we did our last batch, and we'll come back and skim it then. In 10 minutes, Alice did most of the sludge off of the top of our second. I'm gonna get this last little bit, and then she's gonna go ahead and pour. We're gonna double decker a couple of these, and then we'll pour into the rest of our molds. So you can see that the bottom one has kind of set. I don't know if it's easy. So if I touch it, you see that it's pretty, it's got a definite give to it still, but it is definitely setting. So this way you can easily get your layers. I think these are gonna be so good. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna fill up the rest of our molds, and then we will wait a full hour. We're gonna put ours in the fridge. We continued to fill our molds with our second flavor. This was an orange flavor. So we filled up all our molds, and then we carefully moved these back into the fridge and waited an hour. Out our gummies. We're gonna take them out of the fridge. I also took out a piece of freezer paper. You can use parchment paper or whatever you have lying around. You've got a Silpat. So let's get started. Alice is going to start de-panning our things. Oh, look how cute these are. These are like gumdrop shapes. So we're going to put them all here, and they're definitely firm. All right, I'm going to start with our pigs. Let's see. So the silicone molds, oh, that one's cute. The silicone molds make it really easy for these to pop out. I think they're easier than if it were a hard mold. I'm gonna lose an ear there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. You see, we've got some pigs. I'm gonna try these hearts. Did we get a two-tone yet? Oh wait, here's a heart. This heart is two-tone. So you see, we got a heart. You see, it's a two-tone. All right, we're gonna keep taking these out, and we'll then show you what to do with them once you've popped them all out. Okay, here are all of our gummies. You see we have our oranges. Alice is taking out the last of our squares. These are the two-tone. Aren't those cute? They're definitely, because we sprayed it with Pam, so obviously, you know, there's a little residue on them from the Pam. But they will continue to dry out a little bit as they sit. You can also coat these. So, you know how we talked about how citric acid makes things...
like Sour Patch Kids.
Right, like Sour Patch Kids. So we're going to show you guys how to do that. Obviously, you'll need citric acid again, and you'll still need sugar. We're going to do... Let's see. I'm going to get a little container out, and we're going to experiment here. So that way we can try a couple of different ones. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar in here. And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of the citric acid. Because citric acid is super sour. What do you think, Alice? Are they good? Did you try one of each yet? Or you haven't tried them?
I've tried one.
Okay, so Alice is going to put that in there, and then we're just going to coat it. And so it's going to stick to it like you would get on a Sour Patch Kid. Okay, take that out. Now, obviously, Alice could go ahead and try this if she wants to, but we can leave them to dry. They're going to be a little better when they dry. So we're going to coat just a few of these. We're not going to do all of them. You could also just coat them in sugar if you don't have citric acid, or you don't want them to be sour. We're going to do, let's do this multi-layered one. You can also coat them in cornstarch, and that'll help them from sticking together. Though, if you leave them out overnight, they'll dry out for a little bit and they won't stick as much. But I'll show you the cornstarch method now. Alice and I just sampled our homemade sour ones, and I will say I think that we made them too sour, so we added 2 more tablespoons of sugar to the mixture. So it's 4 tablespoons of sugar to 1 teaspoon of citric acid. They're really good though, but I think we like them better when they're not quite as sour as we had made them to begin with. So again, 4 tablespoons of sugar to 1 teaspoon of citric acid. Now we're going to do our cornstarch. So you can see I have, this is cornstarch. We've used it in other projects. We'll mix that up now. So I've just taken a spoonful out. You don't need a lot for this. You're just going to put it in a bowl. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it in, and you really just, again, as it dries, the cornstarch will, you can shake it off a little better, but these will keep it from sticking to anything. So these are if you just want them plain. You can sugar them, you can sugar sour them, or you can use the cornstarch. And again, I'm just wiping it off a little bit. before I put them out to completely dry. And then we'll shake these in a shaker. I'll show you, in a strainer, and we'll get the excess off. But let's do a few more. Woo. Alice is over there with her newly less soured sour. Did you try both flavors, Alice?
Mm-hmm.
Which flavor did you like better, the orange or the cherry limeade?
They're both good.
What, babe? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
They
you.
were both really good. They tasted very similar, but I liked the orange better.
Yeah, the orange I thought was really good. I mean, they were both really good. And they definitely are gummy. Let's do a few more that are just going to be plain with the cornstarch. And then we'll sugar sour coat. Do you want to sour coat the rest of them, or are we going to sugar some of them?
We'll sugar some.
Okay.
We'll do these few. And then we can just
Okay.
sugar.
The hard part about sugaring and sugar souring is you're not sure which are which because they look exactly the same. We probably should have just made like all the pigs sour or something, but that's fine. Strainer here, and I'm going to place all of my cornstarched gummies in here. Okay. And then we're just going to come over to my sink. Don't worry about my dishes. They still have to be done. And we're just going to gently shake. I mean, you don't have to shake it super hard. You just kind of want to get the excess off. And you see how they're not super covered anymore. But that kind of takes the stick off of them so they won't stick together. So if you're not going to use the sugar sand, then you'll want to do that. Okay, so we're going to just sugar the rest of ours, and then we'll mix together our different flavors, and that way we'll have some that are just plain, some that are sugar coated.
It'll be a surprise.
I know, and some that are sour. But I'm telling you, the sour, like I said, we ended up adding a lot more sugar to our sour. The citric acid was just way too strong. It was super, super sour. So you can just add as much sour as you want. And then yours can be sweet. They can be a little sour. They can be super sour, or they can be plain. So remember, if you decide you want to do this project, which I hope you guys all do, I'd love to see what you make. I am happy to give you guys the citric acid if you want to add that to yours. If you don't have citric acid, you can just leave it out of the recipe. But I will happily send you guys my address. I'll put little containers in my mailbox that you guys can just pick up. I just need to know that you're coming. So shout out to me on email, Skills and Frills. It's skills, the letter N, frills @gmail.com. Or on Facebook and Instagram, Skills, the letter N, Frills, on both of those platforms. Just let me know that you want it. We'll set up a pickup time. I'll make sure that you have your stuff. If you don't have molds, in the description down below, we'll link a couple of molds that you can buy off of Amazon. You can also go to Dollar Tree and get ice cube trays, or Target, or find something on Amazon that maybe we haven't linked to. Or you could always, you could use mini muffin tins. You could always do it in the cake pan like we talked about. You would take it out whole and then use a pizza cutter or a sharp knife and cut it into squares, and then you'll do the same thing. But all in all, I think these were really good. What do you think, Alice?
They were really good.
Yeah, and they were fun to make. We had a really good time. It didn't take that long, and they're really yummy. I hope you guys love them. Let me know. Been sitting for a few minutes, actually for a couple hours, and Charlie is done with his work. He's going to try one.
Okay, which
Orange cherry lemonade.
And some of them are sour, and some of them are sweet, and then these just have cornstarch. So try one. Let's see what you think. What are you going for? Is it a sugar or a sour?
For sure.
What do you think?
I think I would have preferred the sour more, but the gummy itself is really good.
Try a sour one then. Some are really sour because we were guessing on how much citric acid. We later figured out that you have to have 4 tablespoons of sugar to a teaspoon of citric acid.
Only a teaspoon.
No, know, a teaspoon of citric acid. Is that, ooh. But they are sour, like Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. I think they were a little less sour. I definitely prefer the red ones more.
You like the cherry limeade. Alice, you said you liked the orange, right?
Wait, it's orange?
The orange ones are orange juice. These are cherry lime. And then these are a mix. There's some with both of them in each pan. So is it a thumbs up? Right. These are our cornstarch ones. They had no problem drying. They're perfect now. The ones that we had dipped in the sugar solution, though, you can kind of see the residue here. The bottoms did not dry as well, so we did flip those over. But we're also going to do a second coating. I'm putting all of them in this sugar cornstarch mixture. It's going to just give it a second coat, and hopefully that cornstarch will dry out the bottoms a little bit more. You can see that. I'm trying to place them on the part of my parchment paper that isn't got syrup on it from the bottoms. But this is 4 parts sugar to 1 part cornstarch. So we have 4 tablespoons of sugar in here and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And we're just gonna recoat the ones that we coated yesterday in the sugar, citric acid, and just the sugar mixture. And that way they have a good coating, and you'll really be able to taste the outside coating of the citric acid and sugar. You could definitely add citric acid to this second coat if you wanted to, but I think that ours are sour enough, so we are gonna skip it. But this is how they make the Sour Patch. It's a double dip. So again, 4 tablespoons of sugar and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and we're gonna leave these out. You see all of mine are now coated. You can see these are just the plain ones that we did with just cornstarch, and they don't need another coating, though obviously you could, but they're not wet at all. There's no stickiness to them, so the sugar mixture wouldn't stick well to them, whereas these still had a little bit of stick. But that should be all gone now, and we're gonna let them sit for another hour or so, and then we're gonna eat them. It's been an hour, and all of our gummies are now perfectly dry. You can see how we coated these again with our sugar mixture, and they're now like just perfectly dry. So we have some cute little bags. We're gonna package these up, deliver them to a couple of neighbors, just to give them a happy day, do something nice for them. Again, we used, this is cherry limeade, and these are orange, and they're delicious. This is our mixed one. Can you guys see that, where we did a layer? Those were super fun. Here's our pigs, so cute, and our little hearts. Everybody gave these a thumbs up. We've tried them at different stages, and they were fabulous. So we're gonna package them up and send them over to our friends. You were in our class, I think it was either last semester or the semester before. I think we made double doozies, and we packaged our cute cookies in these little monster packs, and I just think they're super cute. So we packaged all our gummies up in these cute little packs, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go drop them off at our neighbor's house. We're gonna ding dong ditch them, which means we're gonna leave them in a cute little bag with a cute little note and ring the doorbell and then run away. That way we're still practicing social distance. I hope you guys made really great gummies and that you love them, and you made tons of different flavors. We'd love to see them. Remember, Skills, the letter N Frills, Skills and Frills on Facebook or Instagram. Show us what you made. Send us a little video of you ding dong ditching your friends and giving them fun gummies. That would be really cute too. And we can't wait to see you guys next week. I hope you had fun, and we'll see you again later.